Going on, everyone? What is happening right now? Let's see what's happening. This morning, Richard tweeted some more. What did he tweet about? Hexagons are living the dream that migrated from Ethereum to PulseChain. God, that's what you want to hear, isn't it? It's what you were looking forward to. Just more of deprioritizing EHEX. I'm going to say it that way. That's the way I can say it. Deprioritizing EHEX. Look at the liquidity. Look at the fees. Actually, let's look at the liquidity. Let me put this in here. Very interesting. What Richard said, around 1 million in EHEX. Yeah, so both sides. Yeah, you can say around 1 million for 2 million total from the USDC, the HEX, the ETH, in the two biggest pools there. So yeah, it is quite a lot lower. 35 million liquidity, talking about PX versus 1 million for EHEX. The gas fees. Guys moved all your liquidity to PulseX. So what was left? Yeah, maybe said tweets. Yeah. So more of that. And then the most interesting thing, I think, from this was this piece, and this one I retweeted as well. Maybe in the bull market, EHEX will get pulled along. Sure does seem like what I wrote, which seemed to be a lot of, common sense as far as, oops, got the wrong one. As far as common sense synthesized. Let me paste this in here as well. What I wrote about yesterday, which you can see again, I'm calling it the sacrifice, the great reset. Yeah, I really think Richard is my speculation. He's resetting HEX as a store of value with this, to be better taken care of on PulseChain. And again, yeah, we got to do a lot of work to make sure all the influencers actually see the right HEX chart and all this stuff. But I was listening to Coffee's. He did a stream on this recently, or did a video. It's really good, and it was pretty interesting to hear him talk about sending people, all the different gatekeeping on Ethereum and stuff, and how as actually, like, one good thing is we can focus on stat sites and getting people to PulseChain and all that stuff. Everything funneled in PulseChain. Again, everything. Point number 2, refocus everyone on PulseChain and firmly integrated HEX there as well. Focusing people on getting them into PulseChain instead of, there's a million different gates here, a million different gatekeepers. You got to use all these other sites other than what even the basics sites and the ones you're used to and all that stuff. Tell them to get on PulseChain. Get them on PulseChain first. I think that's, again, it's tough. There's all these different, I'm going to talk about all the different ways here, but the pros and cons, all that stuff. But getting people onto PulseChain, ruthlessly prioritizing getting people on PulseChain, you can certainly make a case for that being good long term. So I think that's an interesting way to look at it. I got some nuance from Coffee earlier, listened to the video as well. And yeah, I think again, is EHEX going to zero? I'm not making that call. I'm not making any call, but I think that I think it'll be around in the back seat, and it'll have its own sub community. It'll have maybe its own pulled staking with all the different Maximus products and otherwise. But Richard is deprioritizing it. That's the best way I can put it, and that's from all of his tweets and all of his not backing down and all of his all that stuff. It's I'm excited though. He's definitely, that's what I talked about yesterday too. Is he back? Boy, I hope a little bit of bring your heroes here to dive mixed with some bring your bags here to pump. That's what I'm looking forward to. So very interesting. Very interesting what's been happening the last few days. And just, again, I want to do this stream. Of course, I know there'll be questions about EHEX and stuff. But I think the biggest takeaway too is the one weird trick, right? What is the one weird trick that you can help yourself with one way or another? And this is going to be maybe the most or the least exciting trick you've heard of all time. But I'm going to go with stop panicking when there's a red candle. And stick to your principles if you have any. Save yourself from yourself. And we have a lot of tools to help you do that in this ecosystem. With staking, with LP, with all the different products and and native stuff and validating and all these different things. Like either explicitly do it by locking your tokens away. We have products and stuff to do that. We have HEX is the principal product for that, Better Bitcoin, all this stuff. Or implicitly, just by having I describe mine as unshakable confidence. That's what I hope to continue to cultivate and demonstrate in different ways too. Of course, I'm not perfect as well. And that doesn't mean you can't, constructively criticize people or ideals or whatever stuff too. But I just think in general, if you don't have principles, like what is your foundation? I would be thinking about that. What is your foundation? What are you leaning upon? What is making you stick to your plan? Because if you're not staked or you're not investing in products that you can lock up and like time lock or otherwise, for me, I feel vulnerable, right? Like I like things that I could lock away because one, it gets it out of the wallet so I don't have to worry about trading it. It gets it literally out of my sight. It gets it out of my portfolio view, or it gets out of it. It's like, nope, that's locked away. That's in this other place. Even if it's not even time lock, even if it's just locked up in some kind of again, trusted protocol and stuff, it makes me feel like it's out of sight, out of mind. Don't have to worry about it. I know I'm earning yield on it, stuff like that. So again, I'm not going to go through all the principles, but I really think, if you're struggling the last few days with this news and another big thing happening in the ecosystem, think about your ideals, think about your principles, think about why you're here, and then use those as a rock. Use those when times are tough, right? You go back to everyone falls back. What's the saying go? You fall back to your principles. You fall back to whatever your foundation is when things are tough. So if you don't mind, you can just redo it and talk about it if you want, but attack the ideal, not the person. Don't feed the drama. Do what you say you're going to do, or don't say it. Avoid news, go for audiobooks, podcasts, blogs, stuff like that. Help people when you can and don't expect anything in return. Pay it forward, but don't keep count. That's the Naval quote goes. And then if given the option, select truth over narrative. Both are useful. Don't say stupid things. Like, again, I'm not perfect, but my God, if you don't say stupid things, you never have to, regret saying stupid things or apologize or have that effect on people for better or for worse. It's just don't do it. Think literally so many times I've got to send out a tweet or whatever, even DM or otherwise, and been frustrated or annoyed and stuff like that. And I think I'll type it out and think, okay, who is this helping? What benefit is sending this message or this tweet or this post or saying whatever? What benefit is it having that I'm doing this? And then if I see there's no benefit, and if I see it's only going to be able to one up somebody or whatever, or some cheap thing, or I stop. A lot of times I stop myself. I'm like, nope, don't do it. Don't do it. There's no benefit. You don't need to have some other outlet. Go for a run, right? Go for a walk. Go for a run. So I really think one of the biggest things that have helped me, my weird trick that I hope will help me 100x my crypto, is literally putting it into a place where it's out of sight, out of mind, whether it's time locking, earning yield in some way, whatever it is. So not having it in front of my face and begging me to go trade it, right? Mr. Market coming, ask you, oh, do you like this price? Do you want to sell at this price? You want to buy at this price? Type of thing. You can constantly have that in front of your face all the time in crypto 24/7, right? If you set it up that way. You don't have to set it up that way. You can set it up differently. And then having principles. Again, if you don't have principles that you can go by, if you have no foundation, it's much easier to have an emotional response to all these things and be upset and, not really think about things instead of just reading something and be like, that's flooding my bags. Well, first of all, let's talk about that. Let me just preface this with billionaires are buying and staking these coins. I think didn't Chris Man just say Godwell just staked some more HEX on both chains? I think is what I remember. If I don't quote me on it, but I believe I heard that from the stream he did yesterday. If I'm well positioned, I don't need to do anything else. like no matter what drama or stuff happens, like if I want what I need to do. And again, that's why HEX is so great. The better Bitcoin, maybe that vision will be fulfilled with PulseChain now, so it can be a store of value and not drop 98% and act like just another DeFi coin, as Somi talks about as well. And again, I don't need to trade. I can stake, number go up in HEX terms. USD value depends on the market cycles and all that stuff. And I go outside and enjoy my life. And instead of being stuck on a computer trying to take money from someone else on the other side, that's the biggest selling point with HEX. You don't have to do that. Of course, you can trade HEX. Of course, people have been successful doing that, but I don't have to do that. And then PulseChain makes everything better, cheaper, faster, new products, new ecosystem, new whales, new healthy games, new mad gains. We hope, right? And then PulseX, keeping the liquidity game on point. Lock it up in farms. I'll talk about farming and staking past couple days too. I did a whole stream on it. And just earning my favorite meme coin, incentive token. The only one I really pay attention to much these days. And yeah, just a ton of new products with a ton of new, great people, great ideas, execution. I think it'll make PulseChain into the greatest city on earth, the greatest city in crypto, the greatest place to go. And that's what Richard's trying to do. So a red candle happened, whatever. Richard tweeted about it a lot, how he's not changing his mind. And now it's all over. I'm like, what? Like, there's so much time. I just observation. I see people spending so much time worrying about things that have so little effect on their portfolio whatsoever. I guess if you were at HEX Maxi and you placed your bets, and that's just how it goes, I guess. I think if I were to imagine, that's a very small number of people who just lost it all from the HEX price going down, again, on paper, and perhaps staying depressed for cycles to come. Who knows? But again, the founder just tweeted, he said, he clearly chose, he's clearly betting on HEX on PulseChain. But he also said maybe HEX goes up because everything else drags up and liquidity bond and all this stuff too. We'll have to see. But everything else is like the emotional response that the founder fed in my bag type of thing. And like, yeah, he wants everyone to move to PulseChain, token moon, like easier to go to the moon. It's a reasonable stance. We can certainly criticize the execution, the doubling down, whatever. But at the end of the day, do you feel poor now that this happened? Or do you just not like that the thing happened? And for me, it's neither of those for me, right? Like, whatever, necessary evil type of thing for number two, but I bet for most people it's number two. And it affected my bags too. And again, my heart goes out. I've talked about this a lot. Goes out to people, the builders, the real Hexicans community, who were much more affected than me, placing their bets in that way. And I say real Hexicans as in just a lot of the OG Hexicans liked the HEX and were betting on it and all that stuff too. Not that anyone else who liked PulseChain HEX weren't just as good, but there were a lot of good people. And I'm sure on paper they're down and whatever. But I cannot let it drain me of energy when there's just so much more stuff coming up. I'm not going to just like wallowing around in this mud puddle for like a week or two. I think in the future it'll look super silly. And especially if we continue this uptrend. So I haven't heard anyone put forth a reasonable thesis of why this rocket ship is out of fuel. In fact, the opposite, many times over. So, and if you say you lost faith in Richard or whatever, I don't know. So I was like, what were we trusting him to do? Like, never do anything that I didn't like. I wasn't trusting him to never do anything I didn't like or understand. Would I assume that he wants to take us to the promised land? That kind of trusting type of thing, that's completely intact. There's absolutely nothing that has removed my confidence in that piece whatsoever. So just because one of these things happened and drama and all this stuff, I think everything is just the uncertainty, thinking, didn't like it, emotional response type of thing. I don't think a lot of it's like very rational. At least if I were to imagine the response to a lot of this stuff. So I haven't seen a lot of it, thankfully. I don't want to see it. Don't want to see it, thankfully. Try to curate my following and my feed and stuff to to just, give me good information so I can bring you all good information. And that's not just positive stuff either. I would definitely want to talk about positive and negative stuff and give you an objective view and give you some nuance for somebody who's been around for a while, along with a lot of other people in the community, but just cannot care about this stuff so much as I care about PulseChain ecosystem growing and us getting over it and going into glory. So that's my one weird trick, right? Stick to my principles, and it just doesn't, for example, I didn't go all in on the EX, so it literally doesn't affect me that much. I mean, I guess it does, but of course, ladders and all that stuff too. But again, jury's not out, and I don't think EX is going to zero. So what I got to be mad about? Everything else is up. Let's look at the process real quick before I get to chat. Whoa, things are down today. Everything else is up. So look at 30 days, 90 days. Like, what am I mad about? What am I mad about right now? And get it.